This summer, we made history. To protect same-day voter registration, we collected over 70,000 signatures in just 23 days. This year, Mainers get to vote yes on one. Maine Republicans established same-day voter registration 38 years ago. Since then, we've had one of the highest voter participation rates in the country, and in 2008 alone, 50,000 Mainers relied on it to protect their right to vote.
Across the country, Republicans are leading an assault on voting rights. The legislative session in at least 34 states have introduced voter ID laws, and it doesn't stop there. This year, at least 6 states have introduced legislation that restricts voter registration drives. At least 9 states have cut down on early voting.
This is the most widespread, egregious rollback of voting rights that this country has seen in a century.
Big corporations and the rich want to pass laws that benefit them. The less people of color, working families, immigrants, and the disabled vote, the easier it is for a few powerful people to stack the deck. But don't take my word for it. This is Paul Weyrich in the 1980s, who helped found groups like ALEC and the Heritage Foundation that are behind the anti-voter, anti-worker policies we've faced this year in Maine.
They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
From 1919 to the early 70s, America witnessed the greatest expansion of voting rights in our history. Effective universal suffrage for women and people of color. As voting rights expanded, incomes rose, unions were strong, Medicare and Medicaid gave health care to millions, seniors got Social Security, vets paid for college through the GI Bill, the rich paid their fair share of taxes. It wasn't perfect. Disparities of race, gender, and sexual orientation persisted, but nearly everyone in America made the biggest quality of life advances in our history. But by the time Paul Weyrich made that speech in the 1980s, things had begun to change. Here are incomes between World War II and 1970. Notice how everyone, from the bottom fifth to the top fifth of America, saw gains pretty much evenly. Now here are the incomes after the 1970s. The rich got richer, a lot richer, and the poor got poorer. Taxes don't look any better. The top 1% used to have an effective tax rate of nearly 90%. Today they barely pay more than the middle class. The average worker's wages are just a fraction of their CEO's compensation. And it's hard to believe that's because CEOs are working 300 times harder or are 300 times smarter. If anything, it's the opposite. Productivity is going up, but wages aren't. People are getting more done, but aren't getting paid accordingly. How did we start sliding backwards so dramatically? Paul Weyrich and his powerful friends fought back through Democratic and Republican administrations alike, although some were better than others. Their agendas shared a common outcome. The rich got richer and the poor got poorer. Notice how corporate profits today, even when unemployment is still so high, are at not just good, but record levels. If that isn't scary enough, look at the consolidation of power and money in just the financial sector. On the left are dozens of banks in 1990. On the right side are 4. In between are just 20 years. What happened next was the biggest economic collapse since the Great Depression. This is what the world has come to look like under the $1, one vote system. People who have more get even more. People who have less lose even what they have. And if you're a woman, or new to this country, or have the wrong complexion, or love the wrong kind of person, it can get even worse. This is what happens when we trade a government of people, by people, and for people for a free market, a democracy of dollars. But we have always found a way to draw a line and fight back. We've always found a way to make people believe in the wild idea that all of us should have equal say. Nothing expresses this radical idea of democracy and equality more simply than voting. So please sign up to give what you can today to protect same-day voter registration. For tens of thousands of us struggling to make it each year, same-day voter registration can be the only time when we can step out of the democracy of dollars into the real democracy. Maybe the only time when our society guarantees that we can step into a booth and mark a box and be worth no more and no less than a multi-billionaire CEO. Please give what you can to keep this dream of democracy alive. We can prove that people working together can overcome